A very good morning, students. Today we'll be learning about the demographic characteristics. Demographic characteristics of Indian population. The spatial variations in the distribution, density, composition, sex ratio, literacy rate, migration and growth of population have a direct bearing on the utilization of resources and the levels of development of a region or country. It is therefore an important concern of geographers. Now, let's talk about the objectives of today's class. We will learn about sex ratio, migration, literacy rate, health indicators, and population problems. In the previous classes, we've seen the population size and growth since 1901, distribution of population and density of population. These were few demographic characters. Today, we will proceed with the few other important demographic characters. Let's begin with sex ratio. Sex ratio is defined as the number of females per 1,000 males. Of all the demographic attributes of population, sex ratio is the most fundamental as it determines the reproductive, potential, marital status, workforce, migration pattern, growth of population and the socio-economic relationship. In fact, it is an important demographic indicator to measure the extent of prevailing equality between males and females in a society at a given point of time. The sex ratio in the country had always remained unfavorable to females. The sex ratio in India is 107.48, that is 107.48 males for 100 females in 2019. India has 930 females for 1000 males. India is at 191st rank out of 201 countries in terms of female to male ratio. Among Asian countries, India is at 43rd position out of 51. Now, while looking at the tables, it may be inferred from them that the sex ratio was 972 at the beginning of the 20th century and thereafter showed a continuous decline until 1941. The post-independence period, however, recorded a sharp declining trend in the sex ratio, the lowest being in 1991 when it was only 927 females per 1,000 of the males. According to 2001 census, sex ratio in India was 933 females to 1,000 males, which increased to 943 in 2011. In India, Kerala is the only state where the number of females is more than that of males. The child sex ratio at India level 918 is lowest since independence. Increasing trend in the child sex ratio seen in Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Mizoram and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The daughters are alarmingly disappearing from the villages of Gujarat state. The census of 2011 revealed that 20% of 18,618 villages in Gujarat have a child sex ratio of less than 800 or 1000. Thus, the problem of low sex ratio has gone from being urban malaise to a rural one as well. Some of the elders are, however, trying Beti Bachao through the awareness movement. When infant and the child mortality are driven by biology, fewer girls die than the boys. But the third National Female Health Survey found that the post-neonatal mortality rate in Indian girls is 21 when compared with boys at 15. It may be seen from the table that there are great variations in the sex ratio at the state level. Kerala, with a sex ratio of 1,084 females per 1,000 males, is the only major state which has excess of females. The high sex ratio is an indicator of less discrimination against the females and low rate of female infanticides. As opposed to this, the sex ratio in Haryana and Punjab is only 879 and 895 respectively, which may be because of the socio-cultural factors. In the opinion of some of the demographers, the pre-birth determination of sex is mainly responsible for the significantly low sex ratio in these two relatively more developed states of Haryana and Punjab of the country. The child sex ratio has continuously declined from 976 in 1961 to 918 in 2011. It is a cause for concern to our leaders, planners, and the government. In fact, it is indicative of female feticide. Among the union territories, Puducherry has the highest sex ratio, while Daman and Diu has the lowest with 618 females per males, and Chandigarh with 818 females per 1000 males, as per the 2011 census. The percentage of male and female child population have been shown in the figure. It may be seen from these figures that the population in the younger age group is significantly low in Haryana, Punjab and Kerala, and much higher in the states of Meghalaya, Rajasthan, Bihar and UP. At the district level, Lahul and Spiti district in Himachal Pradesh and Tawang district in Arunachal Pradesh have 1013 and 1005 sex ratio respectively, which is the highest child sex ratio, while Jhajjar district and Mahendragarh, both from Haryana, have lowest child sex ratio as per 2011 census. The scheduled tribes dominated districts of Bastar and Dantewada of Chhattisgarh have a high sex ratio of more than 1000 females per 1000 males. According to the census of 2011, Lahul and Spiti in Himachal Pradesh and Tawang in Arunachal Pradesh have a high sex ratio in the child age group, being 1013 and 1005 respectively. Now let's look at the literacy rate. Literacy level and educational attainments are vital indicators of development in a society. In India, the literacy rate in 2001 was 64.84%, which increased to 74.04% in 2011. There has been increase of 6.88% in literacy of males and an increase of 11.79 among the females from 2001 to 2011. The overall growth has been slow at 9.2% during the decade 2001 to 11. The concept of literacy, which varies from country to country, generally refers to the minimum level of literacy skills. In fact, it is an important indicator of socio-cultural development and political consciousness. It is the vehicle of socio-economic transformation as it facilitates the acquisition of specific skills and occupational competence and accelerates the process of social change. Thus, education is a long-term investment, not an expense. According to the census of 2011, literacy has been defined as any person above the age of 7 years who can read and write with understanding in any language is treated as a literate. It is not necessary for a person to have received any formal education or passed any minimum educational standard for being treated as literate. The population below 6 years is not counted as they are considered illiterate irrespective of their ability to read or write. As per provisional population totals of census 2011, literates constitute 74% of total population aged 7 and above and illiterates from 27%. Literacy reflects the socio-economic and cultural setup of a nation, ethnic group of the community. The main advantage of literacy is that it provides relatively more opportunity of employment. The literate and educated persons have better personality and can interact with these superiors and inferiors in a better and more confident way. The rate of literacy is largely determined by a number of socio-cultural, political and physical factors. Let's look at the spatial patterns of literacy. The changing patterns of literacy rate from 1901 to 2011 have been given in the table. It may be observed from this table that the overall literacy rate in 1901 was only 5.35%, while the male and female literacy rates were 9.83 and 0.6% respectively. The literacy rate for males and females works out to 82.14% and 65.46% respectively. The most spectacular increase is in the female literacy, and the male-female differential has declined from 24.84% in 1991 to 21.61% in 2001. The literacy rate for males and females work out to 82.14% and 65.46% respectively. During the last 60 years, the highest differential, that is 26.62%, was in 1981. Incidentally, the lowest differential was in 1901, 9.23%, and lowest literacy rate was also in 1901, when the country had appalling high mass of illiteracy. In 2011, the state of Kerala had the highest literacy rate, and followed by Lakshadweep, Mizoram, Tripura, Goa, and Himachal Pradesh. The lowest literacy rate in Bihar is 61.8%, followed by Arunachal Pradesh. The states of Bihar and Uttar Pradesh have significantly low male literacy rates when compared to the national male average of 82.1%. In female literacy, the leading states are Kerala with 91.98%, Mizoram, Tripura, Goa, Himachal Pradesh, and Maharashtra. The states and union territories of Kerala, Lakshadweep, Mizoram, Tripura, Goa, Daman and Diu, Puducherry, Chandigarh, NCT Delhi, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands have achieved literacy rate of above 85%. The target, which was set by Planning Commission, was achieved by 2011 to 2012. Despite a commendable achievement in the field of literacy during the last century, especially after independence, India's illiterate population is the largest in the world. The last global monitoring report released by UNESCO on 28th Jan 2014, India has the largest population of illiterate adults with 287 million people. This is 37% of the global total. While India's literacy rate rose significantly 2001 to 2011, the population growth cancelled the gains, so there was no change in the number of illiterate adults. Characteristic demographic character, age composition. Age composition is also an important characteristic of population. It helps in ascertaining the longevity, workforce, and the dependent population. The table, which is displayed now, vividly shows that between 37 and 42% was the younger age group in the last century, while the workforce varied between 52 and 57%. The highest dependency ratio of the younger age group was in 1971, when it rose to 42%. There is a steady increase in the senior citizens age, that is a geriatrics group, which was 5.1% in 1901 and rose to about 7% in 2001 and became 8% of the total population in 2011. Now let's look at the size of the families. According to the census authorities of India, the average size of families in India is 4.8 people per household. Uttar Pradesh has the most crowded households with an average of 6 people. Tamil Nadu's average family size is now the lowest in the country with 3.9 members, followed by Kerala. After UP, J&K has 5.8 people in a household. In most of the states and UTs, the number of people living in rural household is more compared to the urban counterparts. In the opinion of experts, smaller households are better for girl child, while larger households leads to crowding and a fight for resources. With smaller households, the standard of living increases and more amenities are available for the individual. Now let's look at the rural-urban population. Ratio of urban population to the population of a country is an index of level of industrialization of that country. As industries gather momentum in a country, ratio of urban population goes on increasing. India is an agricultural country, so ratio of urban population is less than the rural population. Ratio of urban to rural population in different census years is shown in the following table, and from this table we can see that in 1901 the urban population of India was 10.8%, which rose to 31.16% in 2011. In 2011, about 69% of the total population was in rural or in villages and 31% lived in the urban areas. Migration. Migration, together with fertility and mortality, is a fundamental element in determining the population growth and structure in a country or a region. The permanent or semi-permanent change of residence of an individual or group of people is known as migration. Migration implies spatial mobility of population embracing all sorts of territorial movements, intra-regional, interstate and international. It causes redistribution of population and is of great importance in understanding of the changing man-land resource relationships. In fact, migration is a universal characteristic of all human groups irrespective of their socio-economic development. Migration has both temporal and spatial dimensions. In terms of time framework, it may be permanent, semi-permanent, temporary or seasonal. In the intranational migration, the migration numbers and rates are affected by size, shape and internal population distribution, stimulated by push and pull factors. In international migration, the extent of national government intervention and control have an upper hand. Another important difference lies in the greater change in socio-cultural environment involved in moving from one country to another, with all its implications, spatial as well as social, for migrant adaptation and assimilation. Sometimes it is a big exodus due to compelling reasons, as happened at the time of independence when nearly 12 million Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs swept up in tumultuous shuffle of citizens between India and Pakistan after the partition of the subcontinent in 1947. Now let's look at the next demographic character, the health indicators. Health is one of the important indicators of human development. Life free from illness and ailment and living a reasonably long span are indicative of healthy life. The health indicators include life expectancy at birth, crude birth per 1000, total fertility rate per 1000, crude death rate per 1000, infant mortality rate per 1000, under 5 mortality rate per 1000, maternal mortality rate. Now let's look at the indicators and their percentages in India. The health of the Indian masses and longevity has increased appreciably. Life expectancy at birth increased from 37 years in 1951 to 67 in 2011. Crude birth rate decreased from 33 in 1981 to 21.8 in 2011. Total fertility rate decreased from 4.5 in 1981 to 2.4 in 2011. Crude death rate decreased from 146 to 69 in 2011. Infant mortality rate decreased from 146 in 1951 to 54 in 2011. Under 5 mortality rate decreased from 326 in 1951 to 55 in 2011. Maternal mortality rate percentage decreased from 20.2 in 1946 to 38 in 2011. It may be observed from the above data that the longevity of Indian population has increased appreciably, as it was only 31.7 years in 1947, which rose to 67 years in 2011. Now let's look at some of the indicators of social empowerment. Development is freedom. Freedom from hunger, poverty, servitude, bondages, ignorance, illiteracy and other forms of domination is the key to human development. Freedom in the real sense of the term is possible only with the empowerment and participation of the people in the exercise of their capabilities and choices in the society. Access to knowledge about the society and environment are fundamental to freedom. Literacy is the beginning of access to such a world of knowledge and freedom. Now let's look at the Human Development Index in India. India has 130th rank out of 188 countries in the human development in the world. India has been placed among the countries showing medium human development. India's position is way below China and Sri Lanka. The main cause of India's low rank is high degree of inequality in education and healthcare. There are, however, interstate and intrastate variations in the human development in the country. There are several socio-political, economic and historical reasons for such a scenario of human development. Kerala is able to record the highest value in HDI largely due to its impressive performance in achieving near 100% literacy in 2011. In a different scenario, the cities like Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Assam and Uttar Pradesh have very low literacy. For example, the total literacy rate of Bihar was as low as 61.8% during the same year in 2011. States showing higher total literacy rates have less gaps between the male and the female literacy rates. For Kerala, it is only 6.34%, while it is 26.75% in Bihar and 25.95% in Madhya Pradesh. Apart from the educational attainment, the levels of economic development too play significant impacts on HDI. Economically developed states like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Punjab have higher value of HDI as compared to the states like Assam, Bihar, MP, Odisha and Uttar Pradesh. Regional distortions and social disparities which developed during the colonial period continue to play an important role in the Indian economy, polity and society. The Government of India has made concerted efforts to institutionalize the balanced development with its main focus on social distributive justice through planned development. It has made significant achievement in most of the fields, but these are still below the desired level. The causes of unequal regional development are largely corruption and scams. Now let's look at the population problems. The growing pressure of population on limited resources, especially on agricultural land, water and forest resources, has created many socio-economic, cultural, political and environmental problems. The population problems of India vary in space and time. Some of the problems are rapid growth of population, unemployment, poor standard of living, malnutrition, poverty, mismanagement of agricultural resources, etc. Conclusion. Demographic characters aid us in understanding the population in a comprehensive manner. Density of population, sex ratio, literacy rate, migration rates, health indicators are potent tools to analyze the population. Hope you've had a great class. Thank you and have a nice day.